Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Altcoin Mentors YouTube channel. My name is Peter, and today I'm going to be talking about managing the swing trades that I currently have in place. I exited out of one of them. I exited out of two out of the four that I was in. One from yesterday, and two that I'm currently in, and one possible entry into a swing trade. So I'm doing this video a little bit early today because I'm going to be spending the weekend with my wife, spending some quality time with her. So I'll go over this pretty quickly. So a few days ago, I talked about XMR and BTC, Monero, and Bitcoin, talking about a possible swing trade possibilities to the upside. Also mentioned that with Litecoin and then also with BCH the other day. So let's talk about the entry. So it bounced off of a major support here on Monero at 262. It came up, it went down, it bounced off a little bit of support. We had color change confirmation at 295. So my yellow, if you've been watching my videos, this orange, I've been showing you like how I trail it. So what I do is in the beginning, I start trailing it maybe at the bottom of this little low here. And then as it goes higher, I will trail it. Once it broke through here, I trailed it to the bottom of the green. As it went a little bit higher, I trailed it to the bottom of this little wave. As it went higher and higher and higher, I kept a longer leash because I was making a decent amount of money here. But then what happened is that just like I was trying to be careful over here, as it got closer to my target of 385, what I generally do is I would try to give it some more space of an ATR around 30, which is the daily ATR. But as it gets closer to my target, what I did was I trailed it, right? Because it was within about $10 of my target. So my 4-hour ATR is 10. So it can get here really quickly. So as it got up here, I started trailing it by 10. The high ended up being 372, and then it kicked me out at 362 with a very good profit. So let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, same story here. Bitcoin, I've been very like neutral bullish for a long time. I was in a long on this before, a little short, and then a recent long. So you'll notice that I didn't buy this long here because you just don't know. We had a trend change on our medium-term wave signal. Then our trend changed again rather quickly. And then that's when I like to take the trends. So I wait for a wave indicator, our wave indicator to confirm to the upside. And once it does, I wait for a color change confirmation, and then I enter my trade. So that's what happened in the beginning of March, a few days ago. Color change, confirmation. Like I said, I started trailing it here. Then once it got close to that level, I put it at 1 hour, the 4-hour ATR. It never hit it. It broke through. But now, the interesting part here is that it's getting close to 11,700, which was, if you remember from last week, that was the top over here. So here, last time, I gave it too much space. I gave it a 4-hour ATR range. So the difference between XMR and with Bitcoin in just terms of dollars, if you just forget about percentages, in terms of dollars, the 342 versus 135 is a very big number. With XMR, it's a little bit different. So what I did was here, what I'm going to do, is that as it goes higher and higher, right? Currently it's at 11,478. Once it gets into the 11,500 range, right? At any given time here, I'm very happy taking profits because then what will happen is that I'll have made at least twice my ATR. Hopefully I make my daily ATR. And once it does that, right now I have a trailing stop, a 4-hour ATR. But once it gets closer over here, just like I did on XMR, once it gets closer over here, what I'll do is I will trail it a little bit tighter, maybe somewhere between the 4-hour and the 1-hour ATR. So once it gets to 11,500, I might pick a spot and say, you know what, maybe I'll look at the bottom of a candle. If the candle isn't too big, this candle here looks like it's $200, so I might do the bottom of this one. If it's too big of a candle, then I might just pick a spot and just say I'm just going to use the 1 hour ATR. But once it gets close to the 11,700, right, I don't want to be too greedy. What I'll do is I will most likely put my trailer and change it to the 1 hour ATR, right? Because I do feel that eventually it'll get to the next level, which is 13,000 up to the top. But first, it has to break this level here. And it hasn't done that in a very, very long time. So this is what I mean. Let's zoom out a little bit over here. So you can see that the last time it was at 13,000 was way back in the middle of January. So until it gets to that level, it's going to be harder for it to, break through. So it has to get through this 11,700 level first. Had resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. So this is a very strong resistance point here. So if it breaks here, then I feel it can go up to 13,000, but I'm not willing to risk a huge amount of my profit in order to be proven right to get to 13,000. If it gets to 13,000 and I miss out because I had my trailer too tight, I'm okay with that. Because I got in a little bit earlier than most people. Some people might have just gotten in around 11,000 and they're looking for the breakout up to 13,000. So I'll take my chances. I like to do the same thing over and over again. So by being consistent, I end up being a consistent winner over a long period of time. So let's talk about Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash is something that is very, very tight. So I thought it would break out, but I was wrong. That's why it's not about being right all the time. It's about managing your positions, and it's okay to be wrong. So last week I talked to you guys about the inside bar. That's really what happened. We had a buy signal off of a bounce. I got confirmation, and one big candle to the upside. And then for the last 2 days, that's it. It's been inside these yellow lines, these orange lines. It's been inside. So I originally had my first trailer at 1250 to guarantee myself a small little profit up to the top. But then as it's been going higher and higher, it's been barely going higher and hasn't really made a new high above this range. If it breaks out, I feel it can go up to about 1377 or my target of 1550. That's where it was just recently, a week and a half ago. So if it breaks out of this little zone, I think it can get up to 1550. That's one of the reasons why I still stayed in. But I'm keeping my trailer really tight now because if it doesn't break out, it could break down to the downside. So because of that, because it's been an inside pattern and it's been very, very tight over the last 2 days, this concerns me because some people might call this a flag, like bearish flag, bullish flag, whatever. But for me, I call it a coil because it's basically coiling. So it's just like a spring, right? So tighter a spring gets, right, the more powerful the move is going to be up or to the downside. But the thing is, we won't know until it actually happens. But because it's above the 50 EMA and it's trending in the right direction, I feel like it can go up to the top. But I'm not willing to risk a lot of my profit, once again, to that side. So do we make mistakes? Yes. And I'll show you one of my mistakes right now. So I told you that I was in Litecoin before. I gotten in at 210. This was where I thought the profit potential might be in the zone up to about a medium-term resistance at 259. So I got in. It never really started moving. I did the same thing that I did on Bitcoin Cash, which was that these are like inside bars. Nothing is really happening. The ranges are very, very tight. So I'll draw the lines, the rays. Right, so there's nothing really happening over here and over here. And then once it broke out of this little range over here, then it's time to get out. And I ended up taking a small loss. So we're not perfect because now it's higher and this might run up to the top, but I'm going to be a little bit patient because I don't like being in a lot of positions at one time. I don't have an unlimited source of money in my account. And because the markets are neutral, it's one of the questions that I answered someone before, because the overall market is neutral for most of the cryptos, I like to have cash on the sidelines. So for me, right now, I am 60% in coins and 40% in fiat. And I like to hold that position. So I don't like to put all my money in at one time. So I have a few potential longs I'm interested in. Because the other part of it is TMV, which is time. Write that down. Time value of money. Because we want to be able to make a decent amount of money in a decent amount of time. So we have our perspective. I gave Litecoin a couple of days. It didn't make me any money. So could I have waited a little bit more? Yes. But then I might have missed out on some of the other opportunities. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk to you about right now. The next opportunity that I'm keeping an eye on is Dash. So I talked to people about Dash a few days ago. I said that this might be a possible candidate in the near-term future for a swing trade. So I made that recommendation over here. So, but it never cleared this little level here. But now it's bouncing off of support once again at 592. So let's zoom in. So currently we have a long signal, but the bar hasn't closed yet. So the bar is going to close at 11 a.m., which is in about 2 hours, and then it has to confirm. So I feel that it might confirm around 16, 16, 69, which is the top of this little candle over here, because that would have been my original long signal had it not changed color again. So now this is my one here. It never broke through. This would be my entry. The yellow support line would be a little bit below that would be my first level of a stop. My first target would be at 636. My second target would be at 714 because that's where we were before it started this little downtrend. So if it breaks through, it'll be above the 50 EMA. Next target will be a squeeze between 636 and 682 and possibly all the way up to 714. But just like anything else, you have to wait for, this is a possibility, right? We have to wait for confirmation. So hope this helps. This will probably be my last video of the weekend. Have a good weekend.